All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 97. Okay, yeah, so Mittermeier and Ruenthal, they're at it. Yeah, still fighting. Right?
I mean, Ruenthal's retreating.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fighting is kind of over in the immediate sense.
Yeah, yes, that is true. That is true. But, you know, the year of bloodshed and tragedy is not over.
Right.
And Mittermeier's trying to press the advantage. So, okay,
yep. He's giving chase.
Yep.
I think at this point, what will probably happen is that Mittermeier will be able to give chase a little bit, but he won't actually be able to continue this fight because of the way Ruenthal employed his strategy to get away. He tiered the retreat in such a way that shows he's a great leader, but not only that, Mittermeier won't be able to really give chase, in my opinion.
Yeah, because they are still going into enemy territory at this point, even though they've got the friends coming in to, apply counter pressure on Ruenthal.
Mecklinger's still...
Yeah, he's a ways away.
Still's a way out.
Yeah. But, okay, so the first battle has been kind of won, but the whole situation with Grillparzer and Knapstein kind of made it so that Ruenthal actually also sort of won.
Well,
in a way.
In a lot of ways, he can't win the war now, though.
Yeah.
Because of the way that this went down. Knapstein is lost. Grillparzer is loyal, but that's more of just like he's committed to the ship.
Right, he's in deep at this point.
He's in too deep to pull out, exactly.
Yeah, and it's more of a question of what damage will this cause to the Empire as a whole.
Yeah. And you know that when Bittenfeld goes in, he goes deep. And he has
does
no pull-out games. So.
Yes, and he even roped in the soldiers that used to be under Fahrenheit into it in a spectacular display of standing tall and proud and strong.
Lots of battle-hardened stamina.
That's
so,
right.
Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. And with that, it's over.
It's over.
Yep.
But our boy's not dead. Not yet.
He's alive. He's alive. He's fled to Heinessen. He did so very reluctantly.
Yep.
He definitely wanted to die, standing up or in his admiral's seat. And I'm very glad that his subordinates kind of were like, no. We'll fall on our swords. We'll surrender. We'll delay Mittermeier enough for you to be able to get away and live another day. Now, because of the way the things were set up by the narrator, this might literally be his last day.
Yeah.
In space, of course, so day is relative. But his last, time awake.
Yep.
On this Earth. Or on... in this galaxy. The point is that... in the world of the living. Ruenthal is going to be judged now by many different perspectives here. And I like that Mecklinger immediately comes in and is like, no, I would like to get a pretty true perspective on this here. Give me time to investigate as I'm here to maintain order and stability. Cool.
Awesome.
Great. Yep. We've not had much Mecklinger in a recent bit, so it's nice to have him back on the stage of things.
Yeah, and he demonstrated himself to be quite competent. I loved his conversation with Grillparzer because it wasn't just the idea that Grillparzer ended up turning on Ruenthal.
Yeah.
It was the fact that, hey, you hid information from your superior officer.
You failed Ruenthal and Reinhardt in that instance there.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. Not just Reinhardt.
Right.
Or not just Ruenthal, but both of them.
And completely separate from everything that happened after.
Exactly.
Because everything that happened after, you could say, okay, you fucked up on the battlefield, you should have, turned on Ruenthal sooner, or
surrendered immediately.
Right, or made it clear, once you were on the battlefield, that, Ruenthal were joining their fleet, or something like that, to try and minimize bloodshed, or something, right?
Yeah.
But he flubbed it there, but he seriously screwed it up before. And that I really like, because it's something where, it wasn't just a simple mistake.
Right.
It's you helped make this happen. Even if you were, not the person who actually instigated it.
And it's so obvious the reason why you were doing this. You thought by this being spun a specific way that you could use the chaos of it to climb the ladder again.
Right. Because
you're a snake.
Yep.
And we don't tolerate snakes in a land of lions.
And the thing is that, there's a very good chance that Ruental might have turned on Reinhard without something like this,
sure.
right? He was considering it at multiple points, but
there was a chance he didn't.
And Grillparzer basically broke the chain of command, didn't trust his superior officer, and ended up helping, his doubts.
Millions died.
Yeah, millions died. Yes. Yep. It could destabilize the entire nation, like in moving forward into history. The galaxy. Yeah. So
this is the kind of thing where Grillparzer is in some ways potentially going to be the one that gets lambasted by history. And Ruental might be saved a lot of the blame because there's someone else actually out there that's going to
going to be the scapegoat, kind of?
No, it's just going to be taking another portion of it.
Sure.
Whatever the size differential is, I'm sure there's going to be some people that blame Reinhardt through history because of this.
Sure.
But the point is that I think Grillparzer is going to take more than Ruental because of his acts here. And because of how official the investigation will be through through Reinhardt and Mecklinger. So, given that this is the case, though, Mecklinger thinking about potentially, hiding this info so that it does no further damage. Now,
right.
And I'm surprised that he'd think that, but I kind of get where he's coming from.
Right. It feels like it's something where he's basically saying, I don't want to hurt my friend Ruental any more than he already has been, basically. Right? So I want to let him basically keep his pride intact and everything. This is something that he did because of his own ambitions, all of that, and whatnot, rather than, he was betrayed by a subordinate. Because that's rough.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man.
We'll never be able to really get inside the head of a Ruental that did know kind of the details of this, but it's fun to speculate.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fun to speculate because I really think that Ruental could have been one of the twin stars, if you will. But
not just him and Mittermeier, but for Reinhard. Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, for him and Mittermeier could have continued as this.
Ah, gotcha.
For the rest of their lives.
Yes.
I don't think that Ruental ever would have betrayed.
I don't think so either.
Reinhard.
Yeah. After the situation with that final battle with Yang, I think that was it.
Yeah, I really think that this was the weird fluke that because of the way the writing is deciding to do it. Basically, is that Ruental made the decision because this is probably the only ever opportunity he would have gotten, and it had to be all these convenient things lining up exactly so, or he wouldn't have done it.
Right. And there were motivated people that wanted to make that happen.
Yeah.
And so they presented that opportunity, basically, in a very persuasive way.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah. Now, I like that this is coming in a way where it feels like Reinhard is at the eve of his Alexander the Great kind of conquest.
Right.
Where war is over, effectively. This was a dispute amongst admirals, basically.
Yeah,
Reinhard was not even involved.
Nope.
I'm really glad he wasn't involved either.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would have given him another hit of the drug of war, and he would have not been able to go back out again.
Well, and also, I feel like it would have a different effect on the history books of Reinhard coming in and putting down one of his superiors, rather than it being something where the peerage handled the situation.
And even amongst themselves, the ones that betrayed, they attacked each other.
Right, because that's where you can really tell whether a leader is doing a fantastic job, because there's the leader that can get a bunch of people to follow them, right? Okay. And that's one thing. But if you remove the leader, is the effects of their leadership still present, right? Have the tenets and the ideals and stuff that they champion and sort of become that paragon of for their followers? Do they also embody those on their own when they don't necessarily have to, right? And in a situation like with Grillparzer, where he didn't, right? He did the thing, he did the betrayal, right?
That's what separates him and Ruental.
Right, exactly. Then the other people around him, as they found out about that, they're like, okay, they handle the situation.
Yeah, which is funny because Ruental was looking for opportunities like this because he wanted to be Reinhardt's friend, Reinhardt's equal, or Reinhardt's better.
Yeah.
If Reinhardt ever basically showed that level of weakness, if you will.
There's a reason that Ruental had such an obsession of sorts with Yang and Kierheis, you know, especially towards the end, because it's I wonder if I could have been that Kierheis for either one of them, right? And I think it's very fitting that he just might die from an innocuous wound that causes him to bleed out. You know, like there was a reason that when he was thinking about like across all the enemies that they'd faced or the admirals that he'd fought alongside, Yang was the last one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The idea also that we know why he'll die. It's not just he's going to bleed out. He's going to be internally bleeding a little bit.
Yep.
And that's a situation where he's not going to die just from that necessarily, but if it's not paid attention to, it could have some issues there. So, okay, Ruental's back in Heinessen. I could see some drastic measures that he takes in order to bring Reinhardt maybe at the very least into some kind of a communication with him.
Yeah, or to like make sure that the 4,000 men that decided to stay with him till
4,000 ships, 600,000 men.
Oh.
No, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 4,500 ships, but 600,000 soldiers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people basically that, you know, doing something to care for them so that they can, you know, because like it's one of those things where the betrayal that happened, right, ideally should not have happened. The ways that the troops acted, you know, that were under Ruental, right? It's like it's kind of a catch-22. Like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Yep. If you stay loyal to Reinhardt, great, okay. But if you stand by Ruental, how much can they really be faulted for that? You know, because they're doing what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah, that was the whole comment about the idea of we're such a low rank. Are we going to be court-martialed too?
Right.
And Mittermeier getting that info of like, oh, that's how in disarray and like that's the lack of unity that the fleet that Ruental had, you know, corralled together basically their status and stuff. But that was specifically the ones that surrendered. With the group that chose to stay behind. But the ones that came back with Bergengruen and Ruental, though, I don't know, man. I could see some drastic action being taken on either side. Because I don't know if Ruental being in a position where he's dying will gain more clarity or if he'll lose a lot of it.
I feel like he'll probably lose clarity in a way,
because that's kind of his idea of going into like a robot mode, you know, right?
Yeah, but at the same time,
you know,
I feel like he'll also gain a clarity that he's been looking for maybe for a very long time, or not even necessarily realized he was looking for. Like, because Ruental has constantly been in that state of in search of something, and he's not quite sure what, but it eludes him, right? And that's why he wasn't even sure if he was going to follow Reinhardt the whole way. Right, because it's I think this is it, but I'm not positive, right? And so I question, you know, like I'm constantly reevaluating, right? Yeah. And he can't get outside of his own head, right? You know, I don't deserve to bear children, right? You know, like the reason why, like in my mind, that when he thought of Yang, he thought of specifically how Yang looked when he died, is because that's what I desire, right? I want to die in my chair because I don't want to die on some bed somewhere, whether it's in a hospital, in pajamas, or, you know, in a cottage.
So it's not just necessarily the thing of where I don't want to die in these places, because of course there's his own personal reasons for it, but he's like, the rest of them, they didn't die in hospital beds.
Right.
I'd like to die in the ways that they did.
These are the people that I found that were basically like the family that I never had. Yeah, the peers. Right. So I want to go out the way they went out. You know, I don't deserve to have something better than them. And that's why
something different.
Sure. Yeah, right, because he wouldn't even see it as better necessarily. And that's why I want Ruental to survive, not just because I love him as a character, but I feel like that, because in the whatever happens in this next day, right, this longest day of his life, right, after that, I'm guessing he will be done, whether he's alive or like whether he's alive and he is just not a part of the military or something, he's too weak, or you know, or he has to have some kind of punishment like given to him,
house arrest for
who knows, right,
or something where he'll die there, you know?
Right, or he just dies from his wounds. Either way, there is an end that is happening, and I would love for it to be something where he doesn't kind of get the easy way out, right? Where he doesn't get to die in battle gloriously or succumb to his wounds slowly.
I feel like the easy way out for him, though, is a bit of the cruel way out. It's basically because I see Ruental as cold.
Yes.
He's lonely. He lives at the bottom of the ocean, and he yearns for the light, basically.
Right, and yet he also doesn't believe he deserves it.
Right, but he's got just good enough eyes to be able to see the light through all the way to the bottom of the ocean. So as he's climbing, struggling against the pressure of the water's weight and everything and swimming up, I think it'll just be the fact that the climb killed him, basically. It will be cold and unfeeling, and he'll sink back down to the bottom. But he climbed pretty high, so I think he'll be remembered. But it's just the question of, I think the circumstances of his death won't be so forgiving.
Gotcha.
I think he'll die with Bergengruen by his side, and maybe having one final talk with Reinhard. But
because I could see him getting his peaceful end, right? Because it wouldn't be the peaceful end for him would be the battle that he never would have wanted, like that is like out of his, where he'd be out of his depth, you know, like because he's used to the battlefield.
That's over and gone, though. I don't think he can have that now. But it doesn't make sense for Mittermeier to come in and be like, I'm going to wholesale slaughter your 4,500 ships.
Oh, totally.
He's going to be like, give up and surrender. This is over.
Yeah, right.
This is a joke.
And I think that's what's going to happen.
It's a cruel joke.
Yeah. I absolutely believe that's what's going to happen when the information about what Grillparzer did gets out. If it does, and that's why I'm hoping Mecklinger brings it out. Yeah. That will be kind of like the true ultimate wound, right? Ruental got speared with a spike through the chest here, and he didn't flinch. But if something like this were to happen, that would cut him deep, right? You know, and that's what I want to see him have to deal with and process.
Sure.
And that could totally just happen in an abandoned cottage somewhere. You know, like so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I long for, you know, cheesy happy endings too, where Mittermeier can come visit him, and you know, Ruental has, you know, suffered from so much blood loss to, like, the brain, like they mentioned, he had brain anemia, and then also a couple other things that maybe he's just on life support constantly.
Sure, yeah.
But it's the thing of where maybe, you know, Mittermeier comes over and feeds him a little bit,
right?
You know, and shares stories with him and tells him about the galaxy as it is and stuff, and maybe Ruental can only understand like half of what he's saying, and maybe has trouble speaking or something like that. Like,
sure.
I can think of all kinds of ways that we could pity Ruental once this is all over.
It would be kind of a fate worse than death for him.
There would actually be a fate worse than death for him, but for us, we would get some kind of emotional catharsis because he would get to have maybe some hope of
reconciliation
redemption.
Or
yeah, but that's not him. That's not Ruental. He doesn't want redemption.
Oh, yeah. No, and I don't
He just wants to find a purpose that his life was worth living,
right?
And that his death was worth dying for.
And that's why it's not necessarily that I want him to be redeemed in the eyes of like Reinhard or his friends or history or whatever, but so that way he can have internal reconciliation, even if like
that's the true happy ending for Ruental.
Yeah. Even whatever other prices need to be paid for that, whether that's from within a prison cell, whether that's, you know, whatever, right? Yeah. And that's kind of what I want for all of these characters.
Jeez. I feel like if he gets that, it's going to happen 2 seconds before he dies.
Sure, and whether that's because it's of old age or because you know some other people come along to assassinate him for, you know, your crimes against, you know,
or he just decides for himself.
Sure,
I lived, so therefore it was worth it, and then he dies.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like any of those could work, but I definitely don't feel like he's going to.
He's got good odds.
Well, he's going to get our definition of a happy ending.
Right.
You know, the living beyond this next episode.
Right. And the reason why and last thing I have to say for this episode pretty much, but the reason why I think that would be so so awesome for that to happen is that in that sense he is on the same journey as Reinhardt. Different details, but it's still that kind of an internal something that they can't reconcile. They can't answer that question, right? Yeah. And I don't know if Reinhardt will get a happy ending in that regard. Yeah. But if that was something where Ruenthal was then able to also see, hey, maybe by me, me also dealing with my internal shit, it helps. It helps my golden god, Mein Kaiser, the one that I looked up to so much with something similar.
Sure.
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. But y'all, wow. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. All this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.